Hey everybody, I look a mess right now. Sorry about that. Let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, sorry. Let's see if this is gonna work. In the back with that towel over her seat, is my little lady. It's funny because the video that I had been planning to do was one talking about my induction story. It's a lot of glare coming off my glasses. Sorry about that. I was planning on doing a video talking about my induction story. And instead, I have to share some really upsetting news that happened. So, when you have a baby, at least at the hospital that we had our baby at, you have a 2-day checkup. Or 2 days post delivery checkup, post release delivery checkup. Initially, while we were at the hospital, which we were there from the 25th to the 29th, but I had her on the 27th. So we technically only had her at home for 2 days, okay? And we had her at the hospital for 2 days. I remember when I realized that she had lost some weight, which is totally normal. They're supposed to lose weight. Your newborn is supposed to lose weight from their birth weight, but it's supposed to rebound within 2 weeks. And obviously there's a certain there's a certain guideline that it's not supposed to go beneath a certain number and all that kind of stuff. Well, sadly, to kill anticipation, my daughter went below that number. My daughter lost 13% of her birth weight. Her birth weight was nearly 7 pounds, but not quite. Well, no. It was 6 pounds, and I want to say maybe 7 ounces, and then 0.9 something, I don't know, something like that. Like maybe close to 8 ounces, like 6 pounds, close to 8 ounces. And she was full term and everything. Sorry about the shaky camera. I apologize. I just want to get this video out, including I don't give a fuck how terrible I look. I just want to get it out. So, and then she went down to 6 pounds and, something, whatever. And I was like, okay. Like, I didn't like that. But, I mean, again, I knew that babies lost weight. So I was just like, okay. And I had talked to the doctor about it, and the doctor said, oh no, she's within a certain percentile. She's fine, blah, 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 blah. We don't get worried until it gets to like 10% or da-da-da, something like that. I'm like, okay. Well, I was breastfeeding exclusively. Straight from the breast, no bottle, nothing. I was just breastfeeding. And I was very insecure about my breastfeeding, but recently I thought that I was doing pretty good because like I had started to do the technique where you lay on your side and you feed the baby out of one of your boobs, well, the boob that is closest to the bed, that's laying on the bed. So that's how I was feeding her. And I was feeding her a lot in this time that way, particularly, I know I was feeding her a good amount while we were in the hospital, but definitely since we've been home from the hospital, I've been feeding her a lot. Like when I say a lot, I mean hours a day. We were like laying in bed together and I was giving her, breast milk and everything. And funny enough, I guess it was around yesterday, I realized like my real breast milk had come in and it was no longer colostrum. Either yesterday or the day before, something like that. I've been like leaking milk like crazy, and all this. I'm thinking, oh, this is so great, all that. I'm like happy and feeling good and feeding my daughter and all that. And it was like she could never get enough breast milk, which I was telling people. And I remember my boyfriend would sometimes say like, oh, I think she's hungry. And I'm like, well, I just fed her, like she just like sucked off my nipple for this amount of time and blah, 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 blah. I was like making jokes that were actually some truth to the jokes where I said she's kind of using me as a human pacifier. Well, okay, here's where it gets crappy. So she had her 2-day checkup. She's 4 days old. And we found out that she lost more than what she should have. She's down into the 5-pound range, where she's lost 13% of her body weight. I forget 5 pounds and what, but the 5-pound range. They thought that she had jaundice, which is actually extremely common for newborns to have. It was explained to me it's not about her liver, the jaundice that they're talking about. That's an adult issue. It has to do with how her body is breaking down red blood cells or something like that. Anyway, it turns out she doesn't have that, thank God, okay? But that's what they thought at first. By the yellowish tone of her skin. She's actually, like I'm brown, dark brown colored, and I've gotten darker, I believe, like since I'm going to be quite frank, since I've gotten bigger and pregnant and stuff, I feel like my skin color has gotten darker. That's a whole nother video. But as it were, she's, light, like her father is a light person and she's light as well. Anyway, and there was a yellowish tone to her skin, which I didn't notice as weird or anything. I didn't think anything of it, like whatever, but they thought it was jaundice, and they did a test on her blood, and it came back that it was not. She was, still within the healthy range and stuff, so that's good. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so about this appointment, they weighed her. Like I said, she had dropped down into the 5-pound range. That's her crying right now. We're almost home, quote unquote. Not really home, but we're going to my boyfriend's dad's place. We're almost there. But anyway, I was just going to say though, so yeah, she dropped into the 5-pound range. Like it could be 5 pounds and 9 ounces for all I know, or 5 pounds and 10 ounces. The point is below 6 pounds. And they said she lost 13% of her body weight and everything. So, now it's an issue of concern. And they said that if by Friday she doesn't gain at least an ounce, then they're going to admit her. And I was just totally devastated by this news because, that in and of itself, and then to think like all these times I thought I was feeding her and I wasn't, that she wasn't drinking my milk. It's funny, I got a lot of help while I was at the hospital trying to feed her, and one of the things they noted was how good her latch is. She's got a very good, sucking thing going on. And I thought that too, and I'm like, wait a second, so what the hell has been going on? Well, apparently it's a little bit more to breastfeeding than your child being able to suck it. They have to be swallowing, like they have to be taking the milk out of your breast, and they have to be swallowing it and taking in that nutrition, and apparently she wasn't. So that's why she was losing weight. And like I said, it was devastating. I was like bawling my eyes out. I've been like crying like crazy and stuff. My boyfriend and I have been talking about things. My boyfriend, he's like very confident about it. Like, oh, you'll get it. It's fine. Da, da, da. And I've just been bawling, I've been so upset, and what I noticed is, okay, so they pumped my breast there. They took me to the lactation area and they pumped my breast, and we got about an ounce out, and we gave her about 25 milliliters or whatever, ml of out of about 30 or whatever, and she was doing very well after that. Like that's another thing. She'd been really cranky. And this is my new baby. I'm a new mom. This is my new baby. And the only thing that I didn't know what to expect. I know that newborns are supposedly pretty fussy and cry, like, all that and all, so I didn't think her behavior was abnormal or anything, which I didn't have much to compare it to, but I didn't think it was abnormal. Well, let me tell you what was abnormal. She was totally calm and at peace, and sorry, that's my hand over the thing. I'm trying to steady this. But yeah, she was totally calm and at peace and doing well right after she got my breast milk through a syringe. After they pumped it, they put it in a syringe and gave it to her. And like we did this thing where we put my finger in her mouth so that we could do the sucking. And then while she's sucking like it's my nipple, we're using the syringe in the corner and injecting her with breast milk. And she was doing well after that. When I get back to my boyfriend's dad's place, I have to pump my breast again. God willing, I have at least a good ounce or so of breast milk to provide for her because, I gotta produce about 10 ounces a day for her, at least. Okay, here's the man of the hour. But anyway, just to wrap it up, I have to produce about 10 ounces a day for her, something to that effect. You know, so that she can be well nourished and stuff. So
Has she been crying this whole time?
she cried one time. I mean, not cried. She just like that, like she was waking up. So yeah, that's not like her. But she's finally got a tummy of food, but she's gonna need more when we get back. I'm gonna get some food in me because I haven't eaten anything today. We headed out to this appointment before noon because the appointment was at 11:30, and I haven't had any food. So I haven't had any water, any food. That's like really bad. You should have went through that way. Yeah, I bet. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. I just want to share that, you know. I'll talk more on this issue later, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.